What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a great day. And if you're new to the channel too and want to hit the subscribe button, that'd be awesome. In the last video, you would have saw that my brother and I made a 15-hour round trip to visit Jacob at Shop the Mob to finally pick up the BN Sports Type 2 kit for the Mark II, as well as the BN Sports 20mm front guard from Jacob at Shop the Mob. I ordered this kit a little over a year ago. It finally showed up and I couldn't be any more grateful for really the quality of the kit, the customer service Jacob at Shock the Mob provided me with the communication, and I'm just so eager to get the BN Sports kit on the Mark II. Again, quality is superb for the most part. Most of the mounting holes are there in like the OEM location. Even though BN Sports is a very high quality kit, well worth the money, it's still fiberglass, and not all fiberglass is the same. We will be needing to elongate and make some more holes, use a heat gun to manipulate fitment, but for the most part, everything is of high quality, and again, incredibly stoked on this. What's nice too is everything's binned, serialized, stamped for authenticity. The kit, I cannot emphasize this enough, is great quality, nice thick fiberglass. And then even the front guard and or fender is pretty nice as well. As you can see, we have all of our mounting holes near stock location. Again, just have to elongate these. And then for the side skirt, not too much going on with the side skirt. It should be pretty self-explanatory. We'll just tap the front and the rear side, but let me go show you what I have test fitted on the Mark II right now. So of course, when I came home the other night, I had to at least test fit one of the parts, and of course it had to be the front BN Sports guard. Looks fantastic in here. I mean, honestly, this is super rough, but in terms of like the line work, pretty spot on. Again, just have to manipulate some parts. Most of the holes are lined up. Again, just have to elongate them like here. Need to elongate them. I already went ahead and drilled parts of the headlight bracket location out. And then we have everything here for the corner marker, this beam here, and then we have the two holes here for the front bumper. But I want to make the front bumper sort of quick release due to the way my driveway is set up. So I gotta figure out something like that. I would love to just hard mount the kit, but again, with the driveway and how aggressive the kit's going to be, I don't think I will make it out safely. And then again, for the side skirts, not too much going on here. Mounted here. And then we will utilize the OEM location for a bolt right there. But I'm thinking for the install, we start with the fenders, hard mount the fenders, hard mount the side skirts. We'll rock and hard mount the rear bumper, and then we'll play around with the front bumper as well. I will be utilizing all of the stock bracketry for the front and rear bumper, especially this little bar here for the rear bumper. That way everything just fits as snug and as OEM as possible. All right, just got done hard mounting the passenger front guard. Came out pretty good. In terms of line work for the hood and the guard, not too bad. I believe I can get this upper section a little bit tighter. And then line work for the guard and the passenger side door, not too bad at all. This is as close as I can get it. But what I went ahead and did was just elongate all the bolt holes ever so slightly. That way I can shift the kit forwards and backwards. And then upon torquing all of the nuts and bolts down, I went ahead and heated up each section where it was pretty warm to the touch. That way everything forms to fit and the kit didn't crack while it was hard. So everything's solid, like This thing isn't going anywhere. The car is currently shaking ever so slightly. Sweet, and then I just have the side skirt mocked up. Again, like I mentioned, we're just gonna go ahead and utilize the OEM location. So one's right here, and then I'll heat this up so it hugs this corner very well. And then in terms for the front, there's already a hole in the back here on the front guard. So we just have to, you know, hit with a nut and a nylon washer. But the side skirt really isn't that aggressive like how the Skylines is, so I'm pretty confident I can hard mount the side skirt and get it off my driveway without any issues. But right now, real quick, I'm just gonna go ahead and work with the side marker and then continue on the driver's side. Just got done with the driver's side. This side went significantly smoother than the passenger side. Of course, there's always gonna be one side that's trickier than the other, but we got, you know, guard to door line, pretty good. Guard to A-pillar, decent as well. All the bracketry is in and torque to spec. Again, use a heat gun, it's gonna be your best friend. Just gotta get some nuts for the back of these bolts, but everything lined up pretty good, except for the guard to hood line. Could definitely use some more work compared to the passenger side. It is a little bit tighter, but of course, once we fully finalize this thing before paint, I will get this thing as close as OEM as possible. But pretty good, if I do say so myself. Now I'm gonna go ahead and knock out the side skirts, which shouldn't take too long since they're only gonna be 2 bolts, front and back, utilizing the OEM tab that's behind the door here. And then once we're done with the side skirts, I'm pretty excited for the rear bumper, which I'm gonna try to utilize this OEM bracket here. And then for this, I will find a way to mount that. Passenger side skirt is fully hard mounted. Again, just utilize a bolt and nut from the front and rear. Nothing too bad. This did crack ever so slightly, but repairing that should be a piece of cake. But I did leave it a little bit flexible up front, just in case. But as you go towards like the middle and then the rear end, it is solid. Again, just stud and nut. I was gonna utilize a rib nut, but since the previous owner essentially, let me show you on this side. So the previous owner self-tapped into the wheel well, so getting this hole big enough protrudes the OEM mounting hole. So the rib nut essentially doesn't have that much structural rigidity to hold, so just went ahead and removed the, what you want to call that, insert here, ovalized it, and then hit it with a stud nut. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the driver's side, which I'm confident will fit even better. Driver's side skirt officially hard mounted as well. This side went significantly easier, but the fitment is a little bit different on this side. I think I just need to heat up the inner panel ever so slightly, or even trim this. And then for the rear side, pretty good as well. Just went ahead and heated this up and flexed to fit it. And for this one, I utilized the tab that this little guy was in. So not too bad, pretty sturdy. Now tomorrow after work, I'll go ahead and tackle the rear bumper, and then we can solidify the front bumper, which may take the longest because we will need trim for the intercooler. And I'm also gonna see if I could utilize my weather guards. They do line up except for the top here. It will drape ever so slightly, but maybe I'll just keep the front portion just so we can protect all of the OEM wiring harness. All right, got the rear bumper kind of on. Right off the rip, looks like I'm gonna have to file down the slip ever so slightly. And in terms of mounting the kit, we'll go ahead and utilize, we have 1, 2, 3 OEM locations for like mud flaps. We'll go ahead and use the top and the middle, and then just throw the heat gun on this edge here so it wraps around nicely without cracking. for the top here. Should be pretty self-explanatory. I'm just gonna have to lift this with my knee and then mark with the Sharpie the OEM mounts. And then looking at the driver's side, it is fitting a little wonky. Just have to center everything essentially, but for the most part, everything is good. We got good clearance with the Tomei muffler, so that's nice. I'm gonna try to get this thing as best as I possibly can. And again, we're gonna be utilizing the OEM bracketry. I don't think we need all of it, so we might just essentially utilize half, if not 3/4 of it. All right, everybody, just finally got done hard mounting the rear bumper. This took me a little over 4 hours to do because I was so hyper fixated on keeping everything OEM or in its OEM location. Essentially, I could have just tapped a couple of bolts and been done, but again, hyper fixated on that. Literally out of breath, guys, but essentially, I utilized the OEM mounting bracket that connects the bumper to the rear guard or the rear quarter here. So we have one security point and then there's another secure point on the bottom here. Of course, wrapped around, just utilize the OEM spot for a self-tapper. Just have to shift that over ever so slightly to get that fitment perfect. But again, this isn't the final rendition. I did not utilize the upper bracket. I unfortunately trimmed or drilled 4 holes that were like 1/2 millimeter off, and it just ruined everything, but that is okay because that doesn't fit too well with the BN Sports bumper. And honestly, this thing is still super sturdy. And then the 1, 2 bolts there for the OEM bracket, and then another self-tapper in the OEM location. This was a pain in the ass, guys, but this is looking so good. I cannot wait. Oh, I'm exhausted, everybody. My apologies. This really almost took me out, genuinely. But the Mark II was looking good. The kit looks like it's gonna sit pretty low, how I want it. Loving that for sure. And then, to those of you who are wondering about the piece that goes in for the trim, I do still have it, and I will be putting it on by the end of the video. But now what I'm gonna do is go ahead and take the Mark II off the jack stand since I don't need it for the front bumper. And what I'm thinking for the front bumper, of course, is probably just a 10 mil right up here for now. And then utilizing these 3 holes with the OEM clips here. And that should provide us with enough structural rigidity. I am missing the bracket for this, so I will have to find it, but I would definitely love to utilize that. But for the most part, everybody, again, Mark II is looking super sweet. All right, everybody, Mark II giving a whole new energy. Kit actually sits pretty low too, which I like. But unfortunately, if I need to raise the car from the side, I do need to take off the side skirts. So somehow I'll make a rendition on a quick release for the side skirt, or maybe just bolt the front, reinforce it, and then cable tie the back nice and tight. But sitting very nice on the KFs. This looks sick, guys. I am in love with this so much. Beautiful, beautiful. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm thinking about getting like some under panels for the kit. I think that'll make it a little bit more aggressive. All right, now it is finally time to mount the front BN Sports bumper on the Mark II. Got the intercooler cardboard up so we don't damage the fin. But right off the rip, it looks like we're gonna have to trim at least 2, maybe 2.5 inches from the center panel here because the HPI intercooler is pretty large, pretty aggressive. And of course, these bumpers are essentially made for stock vehicles. But everything else seems to match up just fine. I may utilize the OEM bracket for this, but we were definitely going to utilize the OEM hole. I'll just go ahead and source myself a nice 10 mil for there. But again, so far so good. Crossing my fingers, everything goes as smoothly as possible. All right, so went ahead and lobbed off quite a bit of that center ducting, probably like 50 bucks of fiberglass right here. And of course, everyone, I cannot emphasize this enough, when dealing with fiberglass, wood, metal, plastic, cutting, please ensure that you are wearing safety goggles, and especially when you are working with fiberglass, ensure you are wearing some sort of mask. Better wear a ventilator. So intercooler clearance, to my knowledge right now, suffices. The issue I am running into right now is my intercooler piping just making contact with the kit here. So what I am going to do is run to Harbor Freight real quick, pick myself up a nice corded or cordless belt sander so we can ovalize this or round this out very professionally and very neat. And then we'll check for the center duct clearance to the intercooler again. But I think just those two modifications need to be done. And then of course just some hardware for the front bumper tabs. But so far so good. All right, finally got the rear bumper trimmed up enough to have it about 99% mounted. This took a fat minute, another 4-hour session. Essentially, this is how much I had to take off from that center ducting. Quite a bit because of the intercooler piping, but honestly, didn't have to do any shaving or trimming up above, just the center ducting and the left and right ducting. I still need to trim up a little bit here, but nothing crazy. And then of course we gotta get the side markers on. But right now, just currently held by some cable ties. And once we get these nice and tight, this gap will enclose. But again, need to solidify an option for a quick release. So once I get the quick release essentially solidified, I'll go ahead and like heat this bumper up to as hot as it possibly can get before it melts so it forms. And then again, about equal gapping on the driver's side. And then the front guards too are pretty symmetrical. But again, not all fiberglass is made equally. But just take it in, everybody. Mark II has definitely transformed in this video. So tomorrow, and hopefully the final part of the install, will be me doing some minor trimming of the front bumper, getting the side markers mounted in their new location, and then we need to do some trimming in the rear so we can get the license plate bulb casing in, which shouldn't require too much work. But this is my favorite angle right here. All we need is a roof wing, and a trunk wing. And if I can find the door rain guards, that would be even better. All right, everybody, please excuse the environment, but the Mark II is about 95% completed, and I am completed with this video. Bumper sits well. In terms of the bumper indicators, I believe I need Series 2. They are significantly different than Series 1 to get a better fit. And I could retrofit the Series 1s that I have, but I'd rather get Series 2 so everything fits nice and I can just do the bare minimum when it comes to trimming. But the Mark II looks absolutely so sick. A completely different energy. And then of course, like I mentioned in the previous clips, once we get the Mark II ready for paint, that's when I will fully solidify all the fitment for the kit. But for the most part, again, barely did any trimming. Oh yeah, still need to shave these down a little bit to fit the license plate light. But the Mark II is awesome. I cannot wait to get this thing painted. Again, that's gonna happen sometime next year. But really glad on the progress we made in this video. All right, everybody, and on that note, that is all I have for this video. I am now ready to relax. I have been jamming on the Mark II for 3 to 4 hours the last 5 days after work, and again, we've made some serious progress. The Mark II delivers a whole different energy. I absolutely love it. And if you made it this far in this video, I want to let you know that our Agora Orc clutch will be here in 3 days. It left Japan on Friday, today's Sunday, and the ETA is Wednesday, so incredibly stoked on that. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we will enjoy the Mark II kitted, take some pictures, go to some car meets, and then when we are ready for the transmission swap, we'll deep dive into that. I have a friend of mine that I'm gonna hit up since he's very well versed in transmission swaps for the 1J. Should be pretty self-explanatory. I've read that it is a very easy swap, and again, I have literally everything now from Toyota Japan in my closet waiting to be installed. But nonetheless, guys, thank you so very much for all the continued love and support. And if you're new to the channel too and want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, that'd be awesome. And remember, aim high, drive low. I will catch you next video. Take care.